So good morning everyone. So let us start from where we had stopped yesterday. I will just revise as to what we did in the previous classes. We introduced to the concept of salary. Okay. Then I told you that there are several heads under the word salary. First is the regular basic pay. Next we have profit in lieu of salary. Next we have perquisites, and then we have allowances. So when you club all of them into one, we get gross salary. From this particular gross salary, we have to give permissible deductions, and then after giving permissible deductions, whatever money is left out, that will be called as net income from salary. Now, going further, we have to discuss about each and every aspect that comes into the word salary. So we started our discussion with the allowances, and in the last class I did mention to you what are the allowances that are eligible for deductions, and certain exemptions are also permitted as far as allowances are concerned. Likewise, we discussed the allowances as far as HRA is concerned, allowances in terms of conveyance, travel, transfer. Okay. We have also seen allowances in terms of those people who are serving in hostile regions, in remote areas, in border areas, in tribal areas, or those particular employees who work where there is a challenging environment such as coal mines, okay, people who are working offshores. So all these are challenging environments in which people work. So to take care of them or to take care of their daily needs, a certain extra sum of money is being paid to them by their company, and as a result, though this extra money is paid to them, it will not be called as basic pay, but it will be called as allowances, and accordingly, in whichever category they do fall, permissible deductions or exemptions are also available as far as those particular conditions are concerned, right? So we have seen all this in the previous classes, and I did mention to you that as far as your exams are concerned, you can definitely expect at least one problem on the conditions of HRA and the computation of HRA. As far as HRA is concerned, we discussed in depth that the basic condition to satisfy or to claim benefit of HRA is you need to stay in a rented house. Okay, if you're staying in a own house, or if you're staying in a house which has a legacy, in that particular case, you are not eligible to claim HRA. Likewise, we move further, and today what we are going to discuss, we are going to discuss some other allowances, okay, which are forming a part of the salary. This is where the calculations come into picture. So we are going to discuss gratuity, we are going to discuss pension, leave encashment, retrenchment compensation, and all those things that are available to you on your screen. All these things we have to discuss in detail, because whenever problems come, they don't come specifically to only one part, they come in combination with many other things. That's the reason it is very important for us to solve or to understand the basics of all these calculations and then compute the suitable allowances and tax liabilities. So now we will study with the first part. We are going to study about gratuity. By the way, these are some sections that are available for those respective allowances. I repeat, there is no need for you to remember those allowances, but you need to definitely know what are the conditions in those particular heads. That is very important, and you should be able to implement or use those conditions. That is very important for us to understand. Accordingly, we'll start with the first part. We'll start with the gratuity, and let us see what are the conditions as far as gratuity is concerned. Yeah. The first condition is we have to see what is gratuity, right? Now, if you just read through this, it is nothing but a payment. Okay, it is a graciously given payment by the employer to the employee, usually at the time of retirement or on the event of death of an employee. Okay, so there has to be discontinuation of service. Only when there is a discontinuation of service, the contract, the employer and employee relationship, when it breaks, that is a time wherein the employer will give a certain sum of money. We call it as graciously, or it's given freely to the employee for his well-being, and that is the reason it is called gratuity. Okay, so the word, the first statement itself makes it very clear. It's a payment made gratuitously, or it's given freely by the employer to his employees, usually at the time of retirement or in the event of death during the service, right? So gratuity is normally paid either as a statutory obligation or in accordance with the terms of the employment. If you are working in a government organization, statutory payment is mandatory. Okay, and if you are working in a private organization, still gratuity is being paid depending on the conditions in which the company you are working. So we'll see what are those conditions and then we'll calculate, right? So uh, when we say that word retirement, retirement can be anything. Okay, it covers the following 5 points. Retirement could be because of death. That means because of death you further cannot render your services. That is what we call it as a retirement of services. Next, we have when you have reached your retirement age, that is 58 in some companies or probably 60 in some companies. So once you reach your retirement age, if you voluntarily resign on your own, even then it is called as a retirement. So even then you are eligible for gratuity. Next, during the course of employment, if you face any problem wherein your thinking power gets affected, wherein we call it as mental retardation. If you are facing with the problem of mental retardation, that means you don't know what you are doing. In such case, companies generally ask such employees to leave the company because their business should not get affected. So in such case, when the employee leaves that particular company, a certain sum of money is given to him for his well-being. So that is what we call as mental retardation. And last one is retrenchment. Okay, when companies ask you to leave, see in point number 3 says you on your own when you leave, that is called voluntary retirement. But if company for some or the other reason, right, is not able to make payment to you or is not able to sustain in the market, and as a result it wants to cut down its cost, so they may ask some of its employees to leave. That is what we call as retrenchment. Okay, so when an employee's services are terminated by the company, we call it as retrenchment. In such case, gratuity is also eligible to be received by the employee. So these are the conditions in which gratuity can be actually paid. Now when it comes to gratuity calculation, if you see the last line which is marked in red, for calculation of gratuity, how do we need to establish the word salary, or what should the word salary contain? Right, so these calculations are important. Please make a note somewhere, because whenever we are going to calculate salary, we have to consider the daily allowances if it is been provided by the employer, plus a certain fixed percentage of turnover. Okay, say for example I am working in a marketing area or I'm working in sales area, and every month I have to achieve certain target, right? So if I achieve certain target, certain percentage of whatever business I do, that percentage will also come to me in the form of salary. So even that percentage is also been added. For example, suppose I am in the business of selling insurance, right? I'm a field development officer and I'm in the business of making of selling insurance. In 1 month, okay, I make a business of 5 lakh rupees, or I achieve a target of 5 lakh rupees. So when I achieve a target of 5 lakh rupees, probably 1% of that, okay, or 2% of that, right, is paid to me as commission. So 2% is fixed. Whether I make 5 lakh rupees business, or whether I make 10 lakh rupees business, or whether I make only 1 lakh rupee of business in that particular month, 2% is the commission that is fixed. So I will get 2% on whatever turnover that I have achieved. So when you have to add the basic salary plus the DA if it is provided, plus a certain percentage of turnover, in my case it is 2% of the business that I do, all these things have to be added, and whenever you get the final amount, that will be called as salary. So please understand and make a note of this somewhere, because off and on we will be using these particular terms in calculations. Clear? Any doubts up to this particular point? Kindly respond. If you have any doubts, we'll clarify. If not, we'll proceed.
No, sir.
Okay. Now, when it comes to calculation of gratuity, please don't hesitate by looking at the slide. It's very simple and easy to understand. Okay. When it comes to calculation of gratuity, okay, there are conditions that we have to remember. So there are 3 sub conditions under section 10, subsection 10. We have 3 sub conditions. Okay. The first sub condition, can you see my mouse cursor here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we'll try to understand this particular section first, then we'll go to second, and then we'll finally end up with the third. Okay. Now, it says that if you are a government employee, now whether you are employed by the central government, whether you are employed by the state government, or whether you are employed by the local authority or the local municipal corporation also, you are called as a government employee. So if you are a government employee, whatever gratuity is being paid to you by the government, the entire gratuity is exempted from tax. So there is no tax as far as government employees is concerned, as far as gratuity payment is concerned. Am I clear on that? I repeat once again. If you are a government employee, okay, and somebody is chatting. If you are a government employee and if you have retired from your services, maybe because of whatever reason, if you are retired from the services and after retirement, the government pays you a certain sum of money. That sum of money, we call it as gratuity. Okay. So whatever gratuity that you receive from your services by through your employer, the entire amount is been exempted as far as government employees concerned. So actually speaking, we don't have to do any calculations in terms of government employees getting gratuity. Now let us come to part number 2. Okay. If you are a private company, or if you are an employee of the private company, okay, there are two conditions that you have to check. First one, are you a government employee or are you a private employee? Okay, so we'll leave apart government employee. Let us say that you are a private employee. Let us say Rashmi is a private employee. Okay, that means she's working in a private company. Now, if she's working in a private company, the first condition that you have to check is whether that company where Rashmi is working, is that company registered or covered under Payment of Gratuity Act. Okay, so is that company or whatever the firm that Rashmi is working, is that company covered by the Payment of Gratuity Act? So if they abide by the rules and regulations of Payment of Gratuity Act, then the second condition will be applicable. So let us see what is the condition that will be applicable for Rashmi. Say let us say Rashmi retires. Okay, she reaches an age of 60, so she retires. Okay, and after retiring, she gets a certain sum of money from the employer, right? Now, whatever sum of money that she gets is an income for her. Naturally, the income tax says that whatever income you receive has to be taxed. But since it is coming under gratuity and her company is covered by Payment of Gratuity Act, there are three conditions that we have to look for. And what are those three conditions is what we need to understand. First condition is we will check how much of actual gratuity has been received by Rashmi. That's point number 1. Okay, we'll see how much of gratuity is received by Rashmi. Okay. Next, the government has said that maximum limit permitted, okay, is 20 lakh rupees. That is a government limit that has been permitted. The third condition is, okay, we have to make a calculation called as 15 by 26. Now why 15? Because we have to pay, there are 30 days in a month, okay, for calculation purpose, and we have to consider only 15 days of that particular month. Okay, and what is 26? Because in a month there are 4 Sundays, so if you remove 4 Sundays, we get actually 26 working days. So it is called 15 by 26. Okay, so 15 by 26 into the last drawn salary. Now say for example, Rashmi is drawing around say 50,000 rupees, or I would say, yeah, okay, so let us say that Rashmi is drawing around 48, 50, okay, 50,000 rupees she is drawing as salary at the time of retirement, right? Now, what was her last drawn salary? It is 50,000. How many years of service did Rashmi render? Let us say she worked for 20 years. So now we have to make this calculation. 15 by 26 into half month salary. What is half month salary? 50,000 is her monthly salary. What is half month salary? 15,000 rupees. Okay. So 15 by 26 into last drawn salary into number of years of service. So we have to make this particular calculation and then we have to arrive at a particular value. So we'll check whatever is the value and based on that we have to execute that particular condition. Are you able to understand or do you want me to explain this on the board?
So if excess is there, then we have to consider it as 1 year.
What happened? Yeah, if
So,
Rashmi has served for 20 years and 7 months, right?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Then it will be considered as 21 years.
Okay, sir.
On the other hand, if Rashmi has served 20 years and 4 months,
Yes, sir.
it will be considered 20 years only.
Okay, sir. Yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah, any other doubts? Explain it again. Okay, Murali says explain it again. Okay, Murali, I'll just show you something. See if you can. Are you able to see the board behind me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but I don't know how much will it be visible. But let us see if you can understand this. If you have a pen and paper, just make some calculations for your simplicity's sake. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Murali, let us say that you are working in a company. Your company is covered by Payment of Gratuity Act. Okay, and after retirement, you have served the company for, let us say, uh, 20 years. You have served the company for 20 years, right? And on the day you retire, your salary, okay, on the day you retire, let us say your salary was around 1 lakh rupees, right? Now please make these calculations. Murali, your salary is 1 lakh rupees, the last drawn salary. Okay, you have rendered 20 years and let us say 20 years and 4 months of service. Okay, and you have received a gratuity of, let us say, 10 lakh rupees from the company, right? Now
Yes, sir.
let us see these conditions. First, Murali, what is the actual gratuity that you have received from the company? 10 lakhs,
10 lakhs,
right? The government has given a limit of 20 lakhs.
20
Fair enough.
lakhs,
Okay, this is a calculation that we have to do. First, see how many years of service have you rendered.
20 years.
I said 20 years and 4 months, but do you qualify for 4 months? You don't qualify, so you
No.
have to consider only 20 years. What was your last drawn salary?
So 1 lakh.
Okay,
So
can you
like,
make this calculation? 15 divided by 26 into 1 lakh into 20 years. Can you make this calculation please quickly?
yes, sir. So 15 divided by 26
Into 1 lakh into 20 years.
so 11 lakh 53,846
11
approx.
lakhs.
86.
Okay, so let us say 11
0.15.
lakhs odd, whatever,
Yes, sir.
right? Now compare these
Approx.
three figures. What is the actual gratuity that you have received? 10 lakhs.
10
The
lakhs.
government limit given to you 20 lakhs.
20 lakhs.
How much were you eligible for? 11 lakhs, whatever your calculations
11.
are, right? Now the
Yes.
condition is, look at this condition, exempted least of, which is the least figure among these three figures that you have got?
So 11 lakh.
You have received 10 lakhs, right? Actual gratuity that you have received is 10
Actual,
lakhs.
yes.
Okay,
Yes,
point
sir.
number one, actual gratuity received is 10 lakhs. Maximum limit is 20 lakhs. And according to your calculation, you are getting 11 lakhs here. So 11 lakhs, 20 lakhs and 10 lakhs. Which is the minimum?
10 lakhs, sir.
So whatever 10 lakhs of gratuity you receive, entire 10 lakhs will be exempted. So you don't have to pay any tax on the gratuity amount. Okay. On the other hand, Mrunali, tell me, suppose by doing some calculations here in point number 3, if you make this calculation and suppose the value comes to say around 8 lakh rupees. Now you have three figures. I want only Mrunali to answer me. Mrunali, you are getting 10 lakhs here in point number 1. Government limit is 20 lakhs. And third point, your calculation says 8 lakh rupees. Right?
Yes, sir.
What is the amount of gratuity that will be exempted?
8 lakhs, sir.
8 lakh rupees, right? Now,
Yes.
how much have you received?
So 10 lakh.
10 lakhs is what you have received. How much is exempted?
So 8 lakh.
8 lakhs. So if you have received 10 lakhs, 8 lakh is exempted. What is taxable? 2 lakhs.
So 2 lakh rupees.
Yes. Got the answer for it?
Yes, sir.
Clear? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Fine. Next, we'll go to the third condition. The third condition is, if you are a private employee, you are working in a company, and your company is not covered under Payment of Gratuity Act. Okay, here the company is covered by Payment of Gratuity Act. Here your company is not covered by Payment of Gratuity Act. Okay, so what are the conditions? The condition here and here is same. What is the actual gratuity received? We have to estimate. Second condition is also same. Maximum 20 lakh rupees. Here also it is 20 lakh rupees. The third point changes. What does the third point say? It says half. Half into average salary of last 10 months into number of years of service completed. Okay, and bear in mind, there is no fractional service. Suppose Mrunali, if you have completed, okay, if you have completed 20 years and 8 months of service, and you come under the third category, how many years of
Yes,
service
sir.
will you consider?
So can you repeat, please?
Okay, you come under the third category. Okay, you
Yes,
have
sir.
rendered 20 years and 8 months of service. Your company
Yes,
is
sir.
not covered by Payment of Gratuity Act. Okay, how many years of service will you consider for calculation?
So 20.
Yes, you will consider 20 only, because the point in the red last says any fractional service will not be considered. Even if you have completed 20 years, 11 months, 28 days, even if you have completed 20 years, 11 months and 28 days, it will not be considered 21, it will still be considered only 20 years only, because fractional value will not be considered. Clear?
Yes, sir.
So that is a one important point of distinction between these two conditions. Second is, here you have taken only last month salary. Okay, last drawn salary or last month salary. The month in which you retired, you took only that month's salary and you made this computation. But here you have to take the salary last 10 months from the month you retire. Suppose, for example, I am retiring from my services in September 2020. Okay, so whatever salary that I receive in September 2020, 10 months before that I have to calculate what will be my average salary. So I have to take my salary for August, July, June, May, April, March, March, February, January, December and November. So this is my last 10 months salary. So whatever salary I received in the last 10 months, I have to add it and divide it by 10. I get average 10 months salary, okay, into the number of years of service. Suppose I have rendered 19 years, suppose I have rendered 20 years of service. So the calculation will work something like this: half into, let us say my average salary is 50,000 rupees, into number of years of service. I have served 20 years. Can somebody make this calculation? Half into 50,000 into 20 years. I think the amount will come to 5 lakh rupees.
So 5 lakh.
Yeah. So let us say I have received a gratuity from the company, from the college. I receive a gratuity of 10 lakh rupees. Maximum amount is 20 lakh rupees. And as per this calculation, okay, my gratuity calculation is coming up to 5 lakh rupees. Okay. The condition is least of the following will be exempted from tax. So what is the least? 5 lakh rupees will be exempted from tax. How much did I receive? 10 lakhs. How much is exempted? 5 lakhs. How much is going to be taxable? 5 lakhs. Getting it? So this is how we have to consider problems as far as gratuity calculation is concerned. Okay. In the next 2 classes of taxation, I'll be taking only problems. I'll be taking problems on HRA. I'll be taking problems on gratuity calculations also. Is that clear? Okay, I think there is a problem here. Can you solve it? There are 2 in fact. Good. Can you solve it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please. Give a try. Let us see. I will not solve it today, this particular problem. I will solve it tomorrow. Okay, but give it a try. Just see if you can solve it orally. First thing is, Mr. X is not covered by payment of gratuity act. That means he comes under condition number 3. That means he comes here. Okay. Next, he retires on this particular day from a company called ABC Limited and receives 1,86,000 as gratuity after serving 38 years and 10 months. His salary is 8,000 rupees per month till 31st 7/2017 and 9,000 rupees per month from 1/8/2017 onwards. Besides, he gets rupees 500 per month as DA, daily allowance. Okay, 69% of which is a part of salary for computing all retirement benefits. Okay, but 100% of DA is considered for computing PF. We are not doing anything with PF, so leave that PF part. What is the gratuity amount exempted from tax? So can you solve this?
Yes, sir. Thanks.
Try it out. Okay. If not, I will definitely solve all these problems. Don't worry about it. Likewise, we have, is somebody solving this problem?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please. I think somebody has responded. Yeah, Sufyan is responding. Okay, I've put this problem on the WhatsApp. You can just have a look at it. We'll just proceed because we'll end up losing time otherwise. So this is one problem that we have. Okay, this is another problem that we have. So I will also solve this particular problem in the next class, and 2 more problems also I will solve it. So let us take up this part, pension, and then we'll stop the class as of today, because understanding this pension is an important task for us to solve problems related to pension. Okay. Now when it comes to pension, okay, pension is nothing but it is a periodic payment received by an employee from an employer after retirement. Okay, so it is something like this. You have rendered, since you have rendered your services for us, it is important for us to take care of you after your retirement. So that is the reason a certain sum of money is paid to the employee after his retirement, and that is what we call as pension. Okay, so pension is a periodic payment received by an employee from his employer, okay, on or after retirement. Now in today's condition, pension is given only to defense people. Okay, pension is applicable only for defense people, that too people who are serving as full service commission officers. If you are serving the armed forces as short service commission, you will not be eligible for pension. But if you have served the Indian defense forces for full service, okay, then you are eligible for pension. Okay, so all defense forces, okay, and are eligible for pension. Today, even government employees are also not eligible for pension under a certain condition. Okay, so next is, when we are talking about the next point, it is called commutation of pension. See, what happens is, commutation of pension means you tell the employer that I don't want money to be paid in small bits and pieces every month, right? What is the total amount of money that you have kept on my name as pension? Let us say the company says we have kept around 5 lakh rupees as money available on your name as pension. Okay, if the employee says that please give me a lump sum money of that, out of total 5 lakh rupees that is available on my name, give me 2 lakh rupees. Okay, and the remaining 3 lakh rupees you can pay me the way you are paying it me, but right now I require 2 lakh rupees, so please pay me a lump sum amount of money. So whenever an employee makes a request to the employer to pay lump sum amount of pension in one go, this is called as commutation of pension. Please understand, this is the word we have to use is commutation of pension. So the condition is lump sum payment made to the employee by the employer in part or full periodical pension surrendered is called as commutation of pension, right? The example is mentioned here. You can just go through this particular example so that things are easy for you to understand. It says that there was Mr. X who retired from his services and he gets a pension of rupees 2000 per month, right? As per service rules, he gets 25% of his pension commuted, okay, for 60,000. Okay, after commutation he will receive only 75%, that means he will receive only 1500 rupees as monthly pension. In such case 60,000 is what we call as commuted pension, for which Mr. X has received in lieu of 25% of his monthly pension. Are you able to understand what I am talking about? Are you able to understand what I am
Yes,
talking
sir.
about?
So please repeat it.
Yeah. See, suppose
Yes, sir.
Rashmi, you have retired from the company and you are receiving 2000 rupees as pension. I'm just giving an example. So if you are receiving 2000 rupees per month as pension, maybe you have some medical emergency and you tell your employer that don't pay me 2000 rupees per month. I want certain lump sum amount of money. Now, as per employer or as per your company's policy, the condition is that you can make a lump sum payment of only 25% of your total pension. Okay, so you request for the 25% and 25% of your total pension amount comes to 60,000 rupees. Are you able to understand? A certain sum of
Yes, sir.
money is reserved on Rashmi's name as pension, okay, which will be paid till the time you are alive. You don't want to take that benefit over a period of time. You may need the money instantly, so that is what we call as commutation of pension. So when it comes to commutation of pension, the condition is you can commute only 25% of your pension, and that 25% of the pension is coming up to 60,000 rupees. Are you able to understand?
Yes, sir.
So you can get 60,000 rupees in one go, no doubt about that. But the remaining pension, instead of you getting 2000 rupees per month, hereafter you will be getting only 1500 rupees per month. That is what the condition says. Because 25% of 2000 rupees is 500 rupees,
Yes, sir.
right? So 500 rupees will be straight away deducted from your monthly pension, okay, and the remaining amount will be given to you. So that is what we call as commutation of pension. So if 60,000 is, Rashmi, if 60,000 is your commuted pension, what is uncommuted pension? What is your remaining pension? So for that we have to go to the calculation of commutation of pension, okay. So commuted value
Yes,
of
sir.
full pension. If really you want to know, Rashmi, what is your total pension available in your name, this is the formula that you have to apply. Amount of pension received. How much is the amount of pension received? 60,000.
Yes, sir.
Percentage of pension commuted is how much? 25%.
25%.
So if you divide this, whatever answer you get, that is the total amount of money reserved on your name under the head pension. So till the time you are alive, you will get this particular value. But if you want to commute it, you can commute only 25%. That is what the condition says.
Yes, sir.
Clear? Now,
Yes, sir.
let us see the condition, these three conditions, and we'll stop here. If you are a government employee, whatever pension that you get is fully exempted from tax. You don't have to pay a single rupee of tax. If you are a employee, okay, of a private company and your company is not covered under Payment of Gratuity Act, whatever pension that you receive, half pension, half commuted value of full pension is exempted from tax. I'll explain to you what is half commuted value of full pension. We'll see it later. But 50% of your pension will be exempted and only 50% of your pension will be taxed if you are not covered by Payment of Gratuity Act. But if you are a private employee and if your company is covered by Payment of Gratuity Act, then only 1/3 of your pension will be exempted. 2/3 will be taxable for you, Rashmi, if you are under this particular category. If you fall under this particular category, only half of it will be exempted and only half of it will be taxable. Clear? In case
Yes.
of death, in case of death of this particular employee, his legal heirs, okay, that means his family members are eligible to get that particular pension. Okay, so family pension received by legal heirs after the death of the employee is taxable under income from other sources. So we'll come to income from other sources sometime later. But even on death of the employee, the family can still continue to receive the pension. But it will not come under the head salaries, it will come under the head income from other sources. So we'll see all these things at a later stage. So we are going to stop the class here. From tomorrow, we are
Sir,
going to solve problems on HRA, gratuity,
excuse me, sir.
and pension. Yes.
So the 25% is fixed or it differs on the
No,
company?
it depends on the company. Certain companies permit you up to 40% also.
Okay.
That's a company policy. There is no fixed
Okay, sir.
rule for that. It all depends on the company in which you are working,
Okay, sir.
right? Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
we'll do one thing. We'll stop the class here, and in my next class we will solve problems. What I'll be doing is I'll be sending you the problems in the Word file, okay, and then we'll be solving those particular problems. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So now
Yes,
we'll be
sir.
having.
What happened?
So now we'll be having a break or directly a class now.
Let me just check. I think we'll have a class and then we'll have a break.
Because as per regular timetable, it is 11 to 11:30. We have a break, sir.
No,
But then
morning class
classes
did
have
not
started
start on
40
time
minutes. Yes, sir.
because of technical issue. So it has been broadly shifted. So after first 3 classes, then you'll have a break.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Yeah.